Well, this trip was special for me for a few different reasons for blacktail in Western California. Special in another way for me because this is actually where I'm from. You can't kill 105-degree weather unless you hunt for 105-degree weather. Hopefully we can spot one, and hopefully it's in a place that we can get to it because it is some pretty rough country up here. Going into this hunt, I figured that blacktail would be a little more docile, but that was not the case. Once we get over this little ridge here, we'll be out of sight. He's down right here, buddy. Thank you, man. My first California blacktail. I'm speechless, lost for words. Well, this trip was special for me for a few different reasons. One, I got invited by my really good buddy, JC, Mr. John Christopher. He actually won this hunt in an NWTF auction. Oakstone Outfitters donated this hunt to the NWTF, and you were gracious enough to bid on it at their national convention and won it. And it was a hunt for two for blacktail in Western California. Special in another way for me because this is actually where I'm from. We lived up top. I remember that. I was born in Western California on a military base out there, Fort Ord, California. And I haven't been there since I was 3. My dad was stationed out there. So I haven't been out there in 30 years. Actually, Dad dropped a pin on our old house, in our old apartment building, and one of the first things we did when we got there, we landed in San Jose. We drove south a little bit toward the hunting property, and we made a little side trip to my old house where I lived. This is where I was born. I haven't been here since I was 3, here in California. But Mr. JC was kind enough to let me drive out here and look at our old house when my dad was stationed out here. Now, we're gonna kill some stuff.
I was expecting like desert plains and flatter land, and it was total opposite of that. It was good steep mountains, very climbing. It was tough. I mean, I'm telling you, that was rugged terrain. It was real rugged. Hot.
With California, got my man JC right here inviting me to come along to chase blacktail. And look at these mountains. Isn't this something? It's absolutely beautiful up here in Central California. We're gonna do something that we've never done before, which is hunting 105-degree weather.
Best thing to do.
Why not? You can't kill 105-degree weather unless you hunt for 105-degree weather. I was expecting more rolling hills. From pictures and images, the hills look rolling. What you don't know is that them rolls are, hundreds of feet high.
Right.
And them rolls aren't really rolling. They're more like
they're straight up.
Very steep. The terrain when we got there was way different than I was really picturing in my head. The temperatures, it's in July and we're in Western California. Temperatures were over 100 degrees every single day. But that's what these deer live in. So if they live in it, then we can hunt in it.
Yep, that's it.
So the general tactic that we're going to implement here, Chad, who owns Oakstone Outfitters, is our guide. JC and I both have bows. The general plan is to cover as much ground as possible, find a buck that we want to try to get on, and then hopefully have that buck in a position that we can make a stalk on it. Well, it is the middle of the day here, day 1. And it is like 138 degrees. The primary tactic I think that we're going to employ on this particular hunt is Mr. Chad is going to drive us around, and we're going to try to spot one of these big blacktails here in Central California. And then from there we'll devise a plan to make a stalk. So hopefully we can spot one, and hopefully it's in a place that we can get to it, because it is some pretty rough country up here. I don't know if JC can take it.
Oh, I've got this, no doubt.
I mean, he'll take it, but willingly. So just covering ground. Hopefully, we've spotted a lot of deer. There's deer everywhere. Just gotta spot, you know, mature buck. It's beautiful. And the first day, we drove and drove and drove and drove all day, and didn't see too many shooters. We had that one, we had one encounter from a distance where we seen a shooter that was actually up on his feet moving, and then we lost it, and then we made a big stalk. Get a better look at him, get a better feel for the situation. He was on his feet when we seen him. We was hoping that he was relocating. He's with a younger buck. I was hoping that he was relocating. Hopefully we can spot him bedded up here underneath this big lone tree, and JC will shoot him. And that'd be great. Well, day one is winding down, but we've seen a bunch of deer. Seen one shooter, where that's what we're coming back from, is a attempted stalk. Wasn't able to catch up to it. We don't know where they went to. There's a big buck and a younger buck, but this view is absolutely just gorgeous. Beautiful country. It's pretty cool for me because I was actually born in this area, not far at all. Actually just right over those hills right there. So it's pretty cool to come back somewhere I ain't been in 30 years. So hopefully tomorrow we'll catch up with something big. JC get the old crossbow, do some damage on big old California blacktail.
Hi, I'm Dallas Barber, big game biologist for the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation. Wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the different subspecies of deer that we have here in the United States. A lot of people are very well aware of white-tailed deer, which are Otocoleus virginianus. They are found throughout the United States of America. We also have mule deer and black-tailed deer. Black-tailed deer are actually, their own subspecies, and mule deer have split off from them. So both of those are Otocoleus hemionus and are very closely related. Talking a little bit more about black-tailed deer, there are two kind of subspecies sets within that species themselves. There is Columbianus, which they are going to be pretty much from California, running up the west coast of the United States, up into British Columbia. And there are also Sitka black-tailed deer, and those are going to be farther north along the coast of British Columbia and up into Alaska. Much like mule deer, these deer, really prefer kind of a mountainous habitat, but blacktail have really become specialists in the far kind of rainforest areas of California, Oregon, and Washington.
The morning of day two was the exact same thing. We were in the truck, we were covering ground, and we seen a few bucks that were like, they were right there on the line. I mean, they were good on the fence. Right, but whenever you have the ability and the luxury of covering as much ground as we were able to with Chad, you can be a little more selective. I would have been happy with a lot of them bucks that we passed, but Chad knows what type of quality of animals are in the area, so we kept moving, and we actually moved farms that midday, and moved farms quite a bit south there, a couple hours south, and I set up in the mare step blind. Well, we are just getting settled in the mare step. Today we are set up in a great spot, and I'm excited. We got deer bedded to our north. We got oats to our south, which is where they want to be, an oat field, and they're making their way down this fence line. And there's actually a little orchard right here with some, looks like apples, and they hang out in these. We got a good 25, 30 yard shot, but if they just keep on walking toward the field, they should be walking in front of us within 40 yards. So very excited up here with my really good buddy JC, John Christopher, was kind enough to invite me up here, so I'm very grateful to be sitting in this blind. Now, to see a big mature California blacktail, I'd be very, very much happy to see some. So we're gonna sit back and see. We got a few hours before dark. So we're set up in this Ameristep pop-up ground blind, and we're trying to catch these bucks come from bedding going to a big destination field. What they're doing is they're coming out. I mean, it's kind of an urban environment. There's houses around. There's actually a crop field that's across the road that has a big high fence around it because there's so many deer there. It's a high fence to keep animals out of the crops. But what that actually does is it creates a funnel situation, because them deer have to go around that fence to get anywhere. It was a pretty slow night for the most part, but we look back toward dark. When it's getting closer to dark, we look back at there's a house not far behind us, through the high fence, and we spotted the big 3x2 that we were hoping to see, that Chad had been watching, was coming our way. You see it? It's skyline. I mean, you'll probably be able to see it. Yep, that's him. He is not. I already got it on. See him? As dark was like there. It was dark. I don't want to shoot through that barbed wire. He's running down the fence line. Of course, this buck stayed on the other side of this 6-strand barbed wire fence. He's probably about 50 right there. But like I said, I can't even get a range. It was getting dark, the buck was on full alert, and he was at 50-something yards, a little over 50 yards. Instead of hoping to get lucky and get one through the barbed wire, I passed up the shot. There's 52 right there. I feel very comfortable shooting it at 50 yards with my bow, but it was really dark, the buck was on full alert, and there was, wires in between him and I. So day 2 ended with a close encounter, but no kill. No.
Oh, this buck is?
No, yeah, you said that's a nice sporting one.
Yeah, he's nicer than the one we saw at the other range, but there's one that's bigger that lives right here too.
Day 3 was a different situation than we had been the previous days, because now we're a few miles from the coast. We're actually a few miles from the Pacific Ocean. And so remember how dense the fog was?
It was so dense.
Yeah.
Man.
But Chad knew that if we just kept going up the mountain, then we'd get above the fog. And that's exactly what happened. We were climbing and climbing throughout the morning. Couldn't see much as we were climbing through the fog. And as soon as we got up, it was like we were on top of the clouds. Yep. I mean, it was beautiful, absolutely serene to be on top of a mountain, sitting there with glasses and spotting scopes and the phone scope, trying to lay eyes on a shooter to make a game plan. As we went from one perch going to another perch, we were in transit and we spotted a bachelor group up on the side of the hill, and they weren't very far. They were probably I don't know, 300 yards at the most, up the hill, not far above us, and they were unaware of us at the time. We were not in a good position to see where they was going to end up being on the same side of the mountain.
It is day 3 here in West Central California, and we got a bachelor group of bucks with 1, probably 2 shooters in it up on this hillside. We was up there close to them a second ago. We drove past them, got out of sight. Now, Mr. Chad snuck around the corner where I'm about to go join them and watch them hopefully bed, and then we'll decide what to do from there. But if they bed close to where they're at, they're in a good spot to have a stalk on them. So we'll see. Pretty tough spot. Well, at least it come from the top side anyway.
It's the only place you're gonna be able to come from. Right?
I think so. Well, we got a bachelor group up here with a shooter in it. Sure enough, shooter, big old 2-point. And we're about to make a move on it. It is on the face directly across from us. And we gotta walk around, get down low, get behind into another gully, and then walk back up the mountain to get even with, actually get a little above it and come over. Hopefully we can get within bow range. Chad and JC are going to stay on this side and keep an eye on things. Axel and myself are going to go get on the downwind side of this group. So hopefully we can weed through the group and get a shot. Once we get over this little ridge here, we'll be out of sight and it won't be an issue, but we have to walk across this big bald face directly across from them. Just hope they don't spook, but they're not looking at us right now, so we'll see. We gotta get down low though and get out of sight.
The plan was to get up above them and slowly take a step with your glasses and try to spot antlers, and then take another step and try to spot antlers, take another step, and just do that until you figure out where they're at.
See him right there. You can just see his antlers. You stay right there. He's right there. When he stands up, you'll see him.
I knew that where he was, if he was going to stand up, I'd be able to see his body, but I also knew that if I got closer, it'd be better.
Right, exactly.
Because at that point, we were probably about 50 yards when we spotted him. And I knew if I could get a little better angle, because I thought that he was facing right at me, or facing toward me. So if I knew if I got a little bit to the right and a little closer, it'd be a better situation. Right. And so I left Axel where I initially spotted him, and told him, he actually didn't see it when we left. I told him to just stare right here, and so when he stands up, you're gonna see him. And so I ventured to the right. You guys are looking the whole time through the phone scope, which is pretty cool footage as I'm inching down this hill. We knew that the sun was now beating on him. When we first watched him bed, he was in the shade.
Right.
At this point, the sun had moved, so now he's in the sun. I'm expecting him to stand up at any second and relocate to somewhere that has a little more shade. I hadn't been standing there at 33 yards for just a few minutes, really. And the buck goes to stand up. He's right here. He's down right here, buddy. Axel, were you on him? Did y'all get a good look at it? Y'all have a bird's eye view?
I got great video. Perfect.
That's awesome.
So good, man. How close were you?
33.
Perfect.
I bet it looked like I was on top of him from down there. Hey, man. Thank you, man.
You're killer, dude.
Awesome.
You're killing.
I am tickled
Very
pink.
cute.
JC.
Film.
How'd it look from down there?
Good, let me catch my breath. Yep, that's happening.
Dude, that's a stud, man.
He's old too.
He's old, yeah. His bases are
Yeah, and big old
massive,
head, big body.
wide.
What a great buck to kill.
You guys got an unbelievable view of it too from where y'all were. This is an unbelievable deer, super mature here in West Central California. That's amazing.
The ocean up here at the top.
That's amazing. At Oakstone Outfitters. And the only reason I'm here is because of this man right here. He's wearing the NWTF Mississippi chapter hat. And that's why we're here. JC invited me along, and I was more than grateful to accept his offer, and super grateful that he let me go after a buck. We was out scouting, glassing from these giant mountains. At least from Oklahoma, these are big mountains, and spotted this guy through the fog. We were up above the fog, which is pretty cool, and spotted this guy with a big group, and was lucky enough, he bedded in a spot that we was able to get to, and JC and I wrestled over it, and then JC realized that we had to walk more than 80 yards.
Anything over 100, I'm out.
So yeah, I was more than grateful to accept. So Axel and I took off after the hill, and they stayed behind about a half a mile, right? And half a mile, watched through the phone scope and captured it all from down there, and here we are, sitting right behind them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My first California blacktail. I'm speechless, lost for words.
Man, just sitting there watching that stalk. I'm telling you, Chad's like, he's gonna get it done. That's all we kept saying. I was like, this is amazing. Because I mean, seeing it from our perspective, where we were at a half a mile, through a little phone scope and some binoculars. I'm telling you, man, I watched you get up, and when he stood up and you shot, and he started rolling backwards. I lost it, Chad lost it. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Got him. Killer. Buck killer, man. I love it.
Just, I mean, that was a hunt that I'm gonna remember forever. I know that.